Hello once again, Ace Runners, and welcome back to the 2023 River Riot presented by Visit the Shoals and supported by Innova Champion Discs. We are here bringing you this final round from the club on Cypress in Florence, Alabama for this PDGA B tier. Joining you here in the booth is Felix Vega of Ace Run Productions. We've had a bit of a tight battle coming down the stretch here with a lot of players kind of shuffling back and forth throughout the first top 3 cards. And we've got some new faces on here joining some that you've already seen so far on coverage. Let's take a look and see who we'll be following today on this final MPO lead card. Starting things off, he's been in control pretty much since round 1. Logan Bowers shooting a 10 down for round 2, rating at 1043. No stranger to the southeast area. Lucas Pierce also 10 down, getting the big eagle to move his way up the leaderboard and into position this final round. The distance monster himself, Neal, 7 down during round 2. Big thrower of the disc, lots of power, fun to watch. And Pettigrew, who we saw make an appearance during round 2, staying on the lead card here for this final day. Kicking things off here, big thank you to Dynamic Disc Iron City for helping to support this beautiful coverage here. This opening hole, breathtaking, par 4, 690 feet. Lots of different elevation change from the tee box. You're throwing down into an open area here. You need to beat some trees on the right and left to kind of frame up your gap. That pin that you see there is not the one that they're going to. It is this secondary pin here, placed gently behind the basket with some slope here to add to the danger factor on your approach.
First on the tee, sponsored by Innova Disc, Logan Bowers.
Logan throwing the Emperor here, an infinite disc mold which is made by Innova. He's been throwing these things well all weekend long.
Yep, good shot.
Beautiful subtle drift and then fighting right back over to the middle of the fairway. He's going to be on a bit of a downslope there. We'll see if that obstructs his view of the actual pin.
Mom, Lucas Pierce.
We saw Lucas during round 1 when we were at McFarland. Had a very solid second round to fight his way back up onto the lead card, and he smoked this drive as well. Also on the downslope on the left-hand side there.
Next on the tee, sponsored by Dynamic Disc and Dynamic Disc Iron City, Neal.
Neal, one of the nicest guys we've come across all year. Just a super fun personality. And just a monster of an arm. Just can really put a hurting on the disc here. That one's a bit too much angle there, and that one is going to hit the ground and roll around a bit. Still moving on the ground towards the left-hand side.
Rounding out the card, sponsored by Innova and 1010 Disc, Pettigrew.
We've seen Calvin here on the coverage here a couple times. Really impressive game. Lots of different shot variety and just what looks to be effortless power. It's got to beat those trees on the right. And it gets knocked down. Didn't quite get through them. Would have liked to have seen that disc fight through and then get back to hyzer angle, but unfortunately gets cut down. This looks a little low. Yeah, it's going to put him at the top of the hillside there. He'll be able to pitch up and down pretty easily for a par. Shouldn't be too much of a struggle. From there, Lucas opting for the forehand on his second shot. Well inside the circle. Beautifully done there. making his mom proud. This is a Warden in hand here for Jared. Floating it just over the hillside as it crests, and man, in the bullseye. With his height, he might have been able to see the target. I couldn't behind him with the camera, but he is about 1.5 feet taller than me. And Logan, I think Logan skipped that off of Jared's disc. And the sound it made, it sounded like it hit plastic before it hit ground. So it might have skipped off of Jared's Warden there. And maybe given him a couple extra feet away from the basket. And he's going to miss that putt for the birdie there. So he's got a little uphill 20-footer for par. And he is going to miss that one. Finally seeing a little bit of a chink in the armor here, as Logan has pretty much had it on cruise control just about throughout the entirety of this event. So final round here is going to give up a couple of strokes to his card mates. Knocks home the bogey there, as you can see the flag whipping around. A little bit of wind here on this final day. We're going to see how much of a factor that's going to be as this round progresses. And the birdie there for Jared Neal. So 2 birdies, a par, and a bogey. A little bit of mix of everything to start things off here in the final round of this 2023 inaugural River Riot. Hole 2 is a difficult par 3 coming in at 464 feet. Both the distance and the line that you have to take add to the difficulty of this one. A little bit of an upslope off the tee here and a bit of a blind target, as you can't really see the long basket. You can see the short basket that we're flying past now on the right hand side. They're going to the one perched just behind this set of last trees here. From the tee pad there's different options: stable forehand, stable backhand. These guys are going to be throwing high-speed drivers kind of low, looking to get some skip play back towards the actual pin. See some drift on this. Needs to hold a little longer and get around that last bush, and he is kind of finds himself in the middle of it, it looks like. Is this understable enough to hold? Just at the last minute, as it was crashing in, gets hemmed up, and this is a very wide route taken by Calvin, and that one is not quite gonna skip all the way over, so he's gonna have himself a long look from where he is. This appears to be another Emperor for Logan. This line, it looks like he's gonna cut inside of that last tree. And he's going to have himself a circle 2 look there for the birdie. We've seen Logan play a little bit of a different game and lay up a couple more putts that we normally see him going after. But I'm wondering if that bogey on hole 1 is maybe going to ramp up his aggression a bit, and he'll take a little bit of a healthy run at this next one. Speaking of healthy, Jared gets a healthy roll away there. Logan does give it a bid and just floats to the right side of it.
Yeah, you're good. Okay. I'm just pitching it out anyway. Yeah.
Awkward angle there from that tree, so Luke is doing the smart thing, just pitching it out, getting himself closer. No need to add any extra strokes this early in the game, and that one low out of the hand the entire way there for Jared. He's going to have to settle for the bogey after that rollaway. Hey, I know that guy in the background. Logan cleaning up the par. Lucas will do the same. No birdies for the card on hole 2. Only about a handful of birdies throughout the day on this very difficult hole.
Human resources compliance, risk and finance, payroll and benefits, technology and insurance, no matter what your business throws at you. Toss it to the pros. Lions Pro, human resources, insurance, technology. 888-212-3687. www.lionspro.com.
All right, we're back. Hole 3. This one 468 feet, a par 3, mandatory on your left-hand side immediately off the tee. You're going to see a lot of flex forehands here with some stable drivers, navigating this fairway down and then finishing back from left to right. You might see some flip-up straight shots as well on the backhand side. There is out of bounds behind the basket there, to see that body of water creeping in. Kind of difficult to get to, but it does kind of get in your head as this hole tends to drift away from you from the tee, so it kind of tends to pick up speed as you get closer to the basket. Lucas with the forehand, very flat overall, just starting to get edge and starting to finish back towards the basket. Stays relatively straight though, but he's got a circle's edge. Look at it. Calvin drifting one. Oh, this looks great. Just needs to stick. Oh, that's unfortunate. That was such a good shot, and he got about 25 to 30 feet of extra roll at the end there. As you can see, the flag moving there in the background, left to right. It's going to push the forehands back over towards the pin, so you want to take these out a little bit wider. Logan looks like he's made the adjustment perfectly, but then gets a crazy flare and leaves himself outside the circle as well. That was a stable disc in combination with that left to right wind. Just pushed that disc way over. And Jared, a little bit inside out of the hand. Maybe a little bit fortunate to be not in the middle of that thicket there, but he's going to have the ability to just stick a leg in and be able to pitch something up here towards the pin. Hurts the plastic a little bit on those rocks, but it sits down nicely for him. That'll be an easy tap-in par. Logan looking for the birdie. Just pushed it a little bit right. Leaves himself with about 12 feet of a comeback putt for the par. Calvin is in bounds. This for birdie. And just a touch low. Gonna have one last look at a birdie potentially for the card here as Calvin taps in his par. And he gets it. Lucas Pierce dropping in the birdie, the only birdie on this card here on hole 3. And one of only 4 birdies on the day. Dylan Wooten got it. Chase Cooper. Joshua Stewart. The other birdies on hole 3 as it played difficult on the day. Logan now just separated by 1 stroke to Lucas Pierce, who's come out firing. He's 2 down through 3. And Lucas will have the box on hole 4, this par 3, 402 feet with a lot of elevation going up. Routine hyzer, but you need the power there to get it, and then you've got a low ceiling as you start to approach towards the pin here. You see this tree on the left-hand side tends to block out a lot of the forehand players, so even forehand players technically or typically will go with the backhand look here. Those leaves at the end too can kind of stunt some of the ground play, so let's see how these guys are going to play it. Oh, low limb. Ghost Limb takes that one out. He was looking to play the left to right shot with a stable disc and some finish. Calvin going more the hyzer route, and you can see that wind is still in effect here. And that one checks up. Circle 2 for Calvin. This looks to be another Emperor here for Logan, and this one is inside as well and is going to drift over to the left-hand side and leave him with a lengthy putt as well for the birdie. Jared needs some late hyzer here. Finishes relatively straight. Looks like he's just about circle's edge, but with a look for the birdie. Let's see what Lucas is going to do here. He's gained a couple of strokes so far. Don't want to play too aggressive here. Goes with the forehand. That leaves him a putt for the par there. It's almost a bit of a chess match. It's still early on, but you've got to start thinking about what your opponent's doing, where they're at, where you're at. And Logan Bowers with the beautiful jump putt. Guiding it center all the way in. His first birdie of the round coming on hole 4 and at an opportune time, as he will gain at minimum 1 stroke back on Lucas Pierce here. Jared Neal lining up this for birdie. Just trickles out the right side. Lucas needing this here to get the par and only lose the 1 stroke, and that's going to get away from him to the left side. And he's left himself with about 20 some odd feet. And this is not what you want to do after getting a couple of strokes early on the leader. It's going to card a double bogey here on hole 4, and all of a sudden that lead has expanded quite a bit for Logan Bowers. The big momentum shift already here. Puts Logan right back in the driver's seat. All right, we come up to our first par 5 on this beautiful property. Hole 5, 864 feet off the tee, big elevation drop here. Want to move your disc from right to left, out of bounds on the left-hand side. That cart path there does play as OB. Your second shot here is going to be dealing with a bit of a blind hill coming up in elevation, and then working your disc over once again from right to left on the backhand side, or from left to right if you're taking that lower angle on the forehand side. Very precariously perched here on the side of a slope, as this pin can create a lot of drama around the putting green. Again, the wind definitely has been playing a factor so far in this round, as Logan Bowers pushes this one straight to the right-hand side. Should have a forehand approach from there for his second shot, or a turnover if he elects for it. Calvin getting a late flip on this one. Now he just needs it to hold on. And it just does stay safe of the cart path there on the left-hand side.
I can't see your thumb.
I don't think that was an actual spotter down there, but he was trying to give him the thumbs up to let him know that he is in bounds.
Did you just say? No, he says, like victory chicken.
This is smoked up the middle of the fairway there for Jared Neal. Beautifully done. And Lucas yanking over on a stable disc as well, as it starts to fight back over towards the middle. And that is pretty ideal. Pretty good footing there as well. He's going to have a little bit of a downhill run up. I thought maybe he was just more on the flats, but electing for the forehand, taking the low side of this hole and kind of breaking it down from that side. Gets to roll away from the actual trees, which will open up his approach there for his third shot. Very nicely played. There you see the chase card playing the hole next to this one. Logan also going with the forehand shot up the hill, and that settles down nicely. So 3 for 3 so far, electing for the left-hand side play, the flatter side versus the high side. I can see where the advantage would be on that as well. Putting uphill versus putting downhill gives you more of a target to shoot for and a bit of a backstop, as Jared Neal also on the low left-hand side of the hole. So we'll see a couple of approaches from here. Logan actually taking the high side with a little flexy forehand, leaves himself about 27 feet or so. And Lucas with an easy jump approach there. Jared floating the Warden up to about 15 feet, and Calvin just has these last little sets of trees to beat, and he does. Logan with a downhill look for the birdie, and he connects. So Logan, after getting off to a little bit of a stale start here, has carded 2 birdies in a row on holes 4 and 5. It's going to be a birdie for Lucas as well. Jared Neal will do the same. And I believe... there it is. We're going to have our first star frame here with this final round coming on hole 5. This guy's breaking down this par 5 relatively easily here. There you see a 4-stroke advantage for Logan Bowers. We've got more action coming your way after this commercial break.
Quit being stuck in the past. Check out the new and improved website at infinitediscs.com.
We appreciate all the support all season long, guys. If you haven't already done so, hit that subscribe button. We're trying to close out the year with 30,000 subs, and we're just a few away. Hole 6, par 4, downhill, 591 feet. Your initial shot, if you're not trying to break the hole, is to go down the middle of that tunnel there and end up somewhere around this area here. Setting up for a second shot, heading into this low-limbed tree here with a forehand or backhand that's going to skip your way up towards the pin here. But there is a gap at the top of the tree line here, which you see Logan lining up, that these guys are looking to take as well, and just take the tunnel shot completely out of the equation. This one is somewhere up in the trees and fights its way down towards that little valley there. Calvin looking at the same gap. And this is somewhere in the sky. There it is. Oh, that is unfortunate. He is right in the middle there. So that's going to be tricky. This double mandatory here. I did mention in the flyover there is a double mandatory there right off the bat. Jared Neal taking the intended route right up the gut and getting to the designed landing area there. And Lucas also going right up the gut. That may be a little early, yes, and that's going to clip the left-hand side trees there. Now he's got a little bit of awkward footing here, as you can see the slope from right to left, and also these leaves, which can be a little bit slick. And he's going the outside route and looking to swing it back in. And he has done so. He's going to give himself a long look there for the 3. Jared again with that yellow Warden, clips a limb, but does not hurt it whatsoever, as he is probably just outside of bullseye there looking for the birdie. Logan firing what I believe is a Firebird there right into the circle, and again just outside the bullseye as well. And there's Calvin's Destroyer lodged in between all of that. But he's able to stick a limb in there and extend out the forehand, and also puts it, looked like, just inside the bullseye. Now he's got to try to get out of that thing without getting maimed. Big shout out to Squatch Disc Golf for their support all season. If you're looking to get a Squatch bag these holidays, use the code ACERUN and get $20 off your purchase at squatchdiscgolf.com. Birdie putt there for Calvin, despite being in the middle of that, I don't even know what to call that cluster of trees there. Probably a cluster of trees is what you would call it. Birdie for Jared Neal. Birdie for Logan Bowers. And the par there on the cleanup for Lucas, as now that lead has ballooned to 5 strokes as we are a third of the way through this final round. Logan Bowers playing keep away with the ball so far from everybody. Hole 7, par 3, 299 feet. Don't be fooled by the distance, as this is very much uphill, playing closer to about 370 or so. This is an island hole here. You see this beautiful rock formation here around defining the edges of the island. If you do not land on the island, you play with a stroke as a hazard from your lie. So not traditional out of bounds rules, but you still get the extra stroke for not making the actual island. Logan Bowers up first. Taking the hyzer play there. And hits one of the last rocks and gets a nasty roll. And this thing is shot back another 80 feet. And that is going to be a hazard there. So he will play it from back there behind that tree with an extra stroke. Calvin a little wide right, looking for that late swing. And that is beautiful. That's about as close of a shot as we've seen on this island green. And Jared Neal says I can put it even closer. Let's get a look at that drive there from Jared Neal. Calvin with a beautiful drive, and Jared taking a similar line, gets the little bounce, and man, he is all of 3 feet from the pin. Lucas looking to get it on the island, and he's just short as well. Man, just there's an opportunity there to try to put a little more pressure on Logan, but unfortunately he comes up short of the island there, and now Logan having to deal with all of these skinny trees and limbs and branches around him, and some wind as well. Just flicks it out there to get it towards the... Oh my gosh! And just casually throwing it in to save the par. It was never offline, online the entire time, spinning around the bottom of the cage there. That's one way to get the par here on hole 7. Logan Bowers, man, if he's playing like this. Oh, and another great putt there. Lucas knocking it in as well. All right, we've got ourselves a game going now. Calvin with the drop in and the literal drop in here for Jared Neal as he gets the birdie on hole 7. Whoa, just fireworks all around on that one. 2 great drives, a great putt and a great throw-in. A little bit of everything on hole 7. River Riot delivering on the excitement. Hole 8 here, par 3, 471 feet. Massive elevation drop here as you see the drone slowly creeping its way towards the actual pin. Cart path here on the left-hand side does play out of bounds. That basket that you see on the left-hand side is not the one that we're playing to. As you can see, there's a line in the actual cart path that notates where the out of bounds is for either pin position. We're playing to this one on the right-hand side here. The rollaway potential here on both the drive and the putts very much in play. Speed control a must. You'll probably see these guys try to land this disc about 40 to 50 feet short and just let the hill and the ground play kind of bring the disc towards the basket. That one flares and was gonna check up, but now it's getting that long roll away. It's starting to curl back up. Okay, and that's gonna be right around circle's edge. Jared Neal up next. Pushing this one out to the right-hand side, nice and wide, and letting that hillside kind of flare it towards it. And this one getting the roll as well. and it turns and it finally starts to curl, but that's going to be about 45 feet or so uphill. Logan taking this one what appears to be even wider, getting the hill skip there to check up nicely, and that's how you normally see these guys kind of try to check up the brakes on this particular drive. They're nicely done by Logan Bowers. Lucas with a similar width here, again getting right to the top. There's the check, there's the slowdown, and that's the best of the bunch as Lucas Pierce is well inside the circle there looking at birdie. Jared about 45, maybe 50 feet uphill. Oh, man. You always want to aim high on those. He did aim high, but he does end up hitting the top of the band. A nice birdie putt there for Calvin Pettigrew. Logan, a little bit of a scary putt here. There you heard him say it, I'm scared of it. Leaked a little bit left there, and he's going to have to settle for the par after that really good drive. We still haven't even gotten to Lucas's drive. And there's the birdie there. It's a cleanup on hole 8 for E. Lucas Pierce. Beautiful drive. We've got one hole left to close out this front 9. It's coming your way after this commercial break. Welcome back, Ace Runners. Hole 9, par 3. Again, big elevation, 345 feet. This one plays longer though. You've got the elevation going up, and you've also got a low ceiling as you approach the last third or so of this hole. As you can see, the trees kind of shrink your window of available airspace coming in here. The drone taking the forehand line here. There's also a little bit of a backhand hyzer skip play on the right hand side of the trees that some of these guys are going to try to take. We've seen rollers. We've seen a lot of different ways to try to attack this hole. Calvin Pettigrew up first, electing for the forehand. Just needs to beat that last tree. Gets some skip and is inside of the circle. Beautifully done. These guys are also dealing with a bit of a headwind here to make matters even harder on this hole. Lucas getting some edge on the end of that flight there, but is going to leave him outside of the circle there with a long look for the birdie. Jared Neal opting for the backhand, needs to pass that set of lumber and gets a high flare, but is going to be well outside the circle with his look there. Love that line there. Gets the flare. Looks like the same disc that he threw on hole 3 that got that big flare, and this time it came to his advantage as it helps finish him towards the actual basket. Jared Neal with a long bid there, a little bit short. Pierce lining up this stepper. Just a little bit low here. Calvin. Yes. Knocks home the birdie there on hole 9. Beautifully done. Great drive, solid putt. He's had himself a solid front 9 here as he's 5 down through the front 9. Logan right side, but catches, bringing him to 3 down overall on the front 9 and 26 for the tournament. And a couple pars there to close out hole 9. Let's take a look at our score box for this lead card. As you can see, Logan Bowers still holding on to the 5-stroke advantage so far over both Calvin and Lucas. And your scores at the turn, it is Calvin and Lucas that are closest so far. Jared, Neal at 19, Aiden Scott at 18. You see the rest of the names there rounding out the front 9 for round 3. It's the final day of the River Riot. We've got more action coming your way. Appreciate you guys checking out the action. Again, check us out on all of our socials, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all at Ace Run Pro. Give us a follow. Got all kinds of cool stuff going on throughout the off season. We appreciate the crew bringing us out here for this inaugural 2023 River Riot, the Singing River Disc Golf Club. This beautiful VW Bug, Mama Dot, absolutely lovely. Thank you to all of our Ace Runners as always for helping to bring content like this to you all. Check us out at patreon.com/AceRunPro. We've got the back 9 coming your way next. Stay tuned.